Fire Emblem Engage!
I love Fire Emblem. Ever since my original experience with Path of Radiance back on the GameCube, I've been a pretty avid fan of the series. There's just something about that weapon triangle and unique maps with some satisfying strategic battles that just keep me coming back for more. With Fire Emblem Three Houses though, the series took a bit of a strange turn, and one that took me a bit of getting used to before I was really able to appreciate what a great game it was, even if it wasn't your typical Fire Emblem experience. If you haven't seen the video I made on Three Houses already, go watch that before this one. Anyway, my hype was through the roof for Engage. This seemed like an even more interesting take on the formula, and from what I had seen, they were going to be bringing back older Fire Emblem characters. I was like, oh my god, Marth, my boy! Engage was looking to be the most engaging Fire Emblem yet, with so many callbacks from the older games that I was very much looking forward to. And now that it's finally in my hands, has it lived up to the hype, or does it have a few problems on its hands? Well, keep watching The Problem With Fire Emblem Engage to find out. First, let's have a look at the story. Honestly, damn, this is probably the weakest part of this game, and what I would say is the main problem with it. It's just boring. Evil dragon wakes up from slumber, therefore you do too. Now you must travel across the four lands, gathering what are basically Pokemon in human form to be able to defeat him. Boom. Spoilers, but that's literally all the story seems to be. I understand Fire Emblem isn't really known for its plot, I get it, but at the same time, Fire Emblem Awakening had some really cool moments that had me absolutely entranced in the plot and its characters. The whole time travel deal with Lucina and her being from a world where everything got destroyed and Chrom and everyone died, with Robin seemingly being the fault of it all. I mean, come on, give me a break, that's engaging. And it's not like Awakening was the only one with an interesting plot either. Hello, Fire Emblem Three Houses? Sure, it was slow to pick up at first, but after those first 10 or so chapters, my god, things picked up quite a bit. Fire Emblem Engage is very much a traditional entry in the series, and unfortunately with that comes a lackluster plot. The game's second strike comes with its boring, utterly generic characters. Alear is just so incredibly one-dimensional that I wish they'd go back to making the avatar mute like in Three Houses. His design also is just really weird in my opinion. The blue and red hair look just makes him look so ridiculous. I get it, he's a divine dragon, he's supposed to look different and mythical, but man, they couldn't have made a more clown-like design. Even without considering Alear, the characters here just don't really hit the same for me as previous entries did. When I think back on what a badass Ike was and the whole deal with the Black Knight, I mean, what an insanely cool villain. Freaking kills your father on some Star Wars shit, so you have to become stronger to get revenge. I mean, damn, Path of Radiance really did have it all. And having to compare that and its characters to Fire Emblem Engage, it just doesn't really hold a candle at all. Hey, at least I thought Yunaka was cool. That's one character I can say I somewhat like, mainly because there's more behind that cheery personality than meets the eye. That's what this game needed more of. Some more nuanced character design that wasn't just, oh my god, the Divine Dragon looked my way! God, that shit got old.
You're the Divine Dragon!
No way!
No way!
The Divine Dragon! The Divine Dragon!
A divine dragon.
I'm a Divine Dragon?
Are you the Divine Dragon?
No, that's actually incorrect. He's actually the Blue Eyes, Red Eyes, White Dragon. Yeah, stupid name, I know. Stole it from Yu-Gi-Oh! Or something. I also think part of the reason I just couldn't get on board with the characters in this entry was because of how laughable the dialogue was at times.
I said I'd give you a birthday present that suited you perfectly. I was working on it in private, but I was unable to finish it in time. That birthday has long since passed, but I would quite like to give you this gift now.
I'm sorry. I can't accept.
Ooh, shit on.
Why not?
Dude.
What do you say?
What?
Pinky
What am I
promise?
playing right now?
All right.
Now, I don't know whether to blame this on the people that did the translation, or whether it's just as bad even with the line's original meaning. Either way, this is by far the worst entry when it comes to the dialogue between the characters, making the support conversations much less engaging than they usually would be. And it sucks because I usually love the support conversations within Fire Emblem games. But it's a shame that that aspect of the game just falls flat when you have such a lame cast of characters within its world. Honestly, if I had to compare this game to any of them in the series, I'd say it's very similar to Fire Emblem Conquest. Both of them have somewhat similar premises, and the plot and the characters feel incredibly similar within both. One thing both Conquest and Engage do have in common, though, is their spectacular gameplay. Now I know you guys are probably thinking, damn, Quick must freaking hate this game. He's been taking a dump on it this entire time. But the truth is, outside of the story, dialogue, and the characters, this is probably one of the best entries in the series when it comes to the maps and how combat plays out. The Engage mechanic where you fuse with your legendary Fire Emblem member is just such a cool idea, and I will be very sad to see it go whenever they make the next Fire Emblem entry. Fusing gives you access to so many different combat options. With Marth, you can go ham with an all-out attack that is sure to defeat your enemy in one blow, or with Sigurd, you can blaze through any enemies you've lined up in a single line for damage to multiple enemies. With Celica, you can warp across the damn map and unleash a devastating magic attack. Honestly, the options are endless, and I loved every second of it. Now I know all that sounds overpowered as hell, but it's balanced really well, as you can only go Insano mode for 3 turns before reverting back to normal. And you can only really do the overpowered moves I mentioned earlier once within those 3 turns. And that overpoweredness doesn't just apply to you, even your enemies can do some Power Rangers transformations right back at you. But I'm just gonna stop there so you Fire Emblem fans can enjoy that action for yourselves. Equipping your party members and getting them ready for battle has never been easier too. Remember in previous entries, it'd be a major pain to make sure every single person has a vulnerary. Damn, that guy has an axe when he really shouldn't. I gotta take it off him and then give it to my axe user, and then I just forget for 3 battles, and oh my god, that shit got annoying. Well, with one simple addition, all that headache is mostly gone. Sure, there's still some stuff you'll have to do manually every now and then, but going through and just pressing optimize equipment for every person does a pretty good job, so you can get right back into the action sooner than ever with this entry. There is one small gripe I have with the game that's really just a minor complaint, but I just have to mention it. I'm so glad they've continued to bring back the time rewind mechanic, because if you're playing on Classic and you have a bad run of RNG, your ass will be playing the same chapter for at least 2 hours, and with the rewind mechanic that I believe was introduced in Echoes and has stayed with the series since, it is such a godsend. In Chapter 10, it's a crude reminder of how much better it makes the series, as you don't have access to it for a few turns and it's a headache, especially if you're trying to keep everyone alive. Speaking of quality of life improvements, I also love the portrait animations when you mouse over each enemy, as well as your allied characters. It just gives the game a sense of polish that Fire Emblem hasn't really had before. The loading screens that show your entourage slowly growing as you gain more and more party members throughout your playtime is also a really nice touch. What really shows how polished this game is, though, is that now when you enter a combat animation, the environment that you're fighting in will change depending on the type of tile that surrounds you. So for instance, let's say you get attacked while on top of a fort. When it transitions into the battle scene, you will actually be atop the fort while the enemy is attacking you from down below it. Or if you go into battle near a fence or some flowers, the environment will reflect what you were standing near. I don't know, call me crazy, it's small, but it's something I really appreciated with this game. There are just a lot of minor things that they added to Fire Emblem Engage that just make the game so much better to play mechanically than before. Honestly, the best way to sum it up is it just feels like they made numerous quality of life improvements to the series as a whole. Really, all in all, I think Fire Emblem fans are gonna love this game, but if you were expecting the next 3 houses, then you're gonna be sorely disappointed. The new hub area just isn't nearly as expansive as the school was within 3 houses. But even so, there's still a surprising amount of stuff to do here to keep you distracted outside of regular battles. Like doing ring polishing? Okay, what the hell am I doing here? You can also do arena training battles to get that last bit of experience you may have needed for that level up, or even do sit-ups for a health increase. Okay, I gotta say, some of these side activities are just weird, and none of them are really as engaging as the activities in 3 houses, but hey, it's better than nothing, right? So basically, the problem with this game is everything but the gameplay. With that being said, I have to respect how innovative Nintendo continues to be with its franchises, especially considering how Three Houses was literally the single best-selling game in the franchise, and to throw away a formula that clearly worked to try something entirely different is such a ballsy move. And it's also why I think Nintendo continues to dominate the video game market with banger after banger of a video game. With that innovation comes a few missteps though, and with this game, the missteps are in the plot and character development for me personally. The gameplay though is the best it's ever been, and for Fire Emblem fans, this game is an absolute must-buy. And that marks the end of this video. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe for more videos on The Problem With, and if you're really feeling generous, go support me on Patreon. Divine Dragon Alir would really appreciate it.